Tom in Alameda, you're on KMBR.
Gary, can we do something before we have Tom? If anyone's going to know the answer to this question, he's on hold right now.
Who is it?
We're going to the great Bill King.
Oh, you're kidding.
The great Bill King?
The best.
Absolutely.
Art, I hate to say it, and to knock some of the great talents we've had, but this is the greatest broadcaster in the history of the Bay Area at any level. He's even better than the weatherman used to be on Channel 13. I'm going that far. The great Bill King. Hello, Bill.
Hey, Gary, how are you? I really need that kind of stroking now. There's no more baseball left. I've got to do something to satiate my ego.
Well, you want to manage the A's? They got an opening.
No, I have my own opinions.
Boy, okay, well, we'll leave that alone, but...
I want to hear him, Bill.
Yeah. What? Art Spander's ready to... In fact, Art will quote you. He'll knock Thomas Bjorn Part 2 off for your story.
Listen, I just had a little bit of a note to offer about spiking the football.
Please.
First time I saw it, it's not the full-out wind-up spike that we see today, but it was Hewitt Dixon.
Wow.
Of the Raiders. He was a fullback alongside Clem Daniels in 66, 67. He came out of Florida A&M, and when he'd score a touchdown, he'd just stay in stride, slow down, and just slam the ball down. It wasn't a big wind-up. And I asked him about it at the time, and he said his coach at Florida A&M always said he wanted their runners or wide receivers, when they score, to bust the ball. That was his term.
Wow. Art, where were you with that? We had to have Bill call in during his holiday.
I know, but I'll tell you, I'll pay homage to Mr. King, who I've known for years. The great Bill King story. When I was going to UCLA, I spotted for Bill King. I think it was 57 Cal UCLA game. Bill gets in to the L.A. Coliseum press box, strips down to his bathing shorts and his sandals, and of course, being a naive Southern Californian, I hadn't seen. And now I know Bill, and I was just like awed.
Yeah.
I was for 15 minutes. I couldn't spot.
Well, Art, let me jump in here. We'll all, Tony, I have to tell you this. Bill was cool before it was. Oh, yeah. Before people tried to be cool.
Guys weren't wearing flip-flops and cutoffs back in the 50s here.
Hey, listen, it was only common sense. Why be uncomfortable in your workplace? I remember, hey, Tony, I did a Raider-Eagles game in Philadelphia at Old Franklin Field, and an exhibition game in August, and it was about 100 degrees and 90 degrees humidity. And you think those Philadelphians didn't go nuts when I stripped down my bathing front?
They go nuts for less than that, Bill. You know that.
Well, that was the night the Eagles came out for their first exhibition game of the season.
Yeah.
And when they streamed onto the field from the locker room, there was a massive chorus of boos.
Yeah, that's
hey, generation. It's passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah. Hey, Artie.
Yeah.
Can I go out on a limb and say Bill would not be allowed to strip down to his bathing suit on the first tee at Royal Troon?
That is not a limb. By the way, as we all know, Bill was way ahead in facial hair.
Oh.
He had a beard 35, 40 years ago when other people didn't, and he can tell you the story, but a woman in Milwaukee, wasn't it, Bill? Accused him of being the devil.
Oh, jeez. Well, Bill, can you tell Tony the story that when you were doing a television thing, the guy said either shave or we're going to have you just off camera, right?
It was the first year of the Warriors in San Francisco, and we were the only two teams, the Warriors and the Lakers, on the West Coast. We only did 6 television games a year, all in L.A., because we played 6 there and 6 in the Bay Area. And I was the radio guy, and Franklin Muley was directing. He didn't own the whole ball club then. He was directing the broadcast procedures. And so I was going to do the television also, basically a simulcast. And the Channel 2 here in the Bay Area, which had been on the air about 5 years, and I had been on the air clean-shaven on TV sometime before that, they said, we will not let this guy be on camera with a beard. So Franklin came up with a compromise. As you watched the telecast, there were the graphics, you heard a voiceover, they had a pregame show with a guy from L.A. named Bill Burnage doing the show. Then they went to the game and they said, now, here's your announcer, Bill King. I did the play-by-play using the monitor and all of that first half, end of the first half. Here's the score at halftime. We'll be right back. Then they do a halftime period with 2 clean-shaven guys. back to Bill King again.
Oh,
You
geez.
never saw me at all. When the game was over, I gave a final score, went back to the studio, and we had clean shaven again.
Oh, man, that is great. That is just. Hey, Bill, I'd be remiss. I'll throw it out. You tell me how far, considering your position with the club. You want to comment on what happened to Maka?
Well, I'm very disappointed. I thought Maka did a great job. I thought he handled the ball club probably as well as anybody probably could have to get them over the very bad start this last year. And it's just unfortunate. I know he wanted to come back, but I don't know what his parameters were. I don't know whether it related at all to any of the interaction between him and Billy. Billy can be very tough on managers, and I just don't know what all the nuances were. But at bottom line, I'm disappointed. On the other hand, in the past, we've lost. I thought Art Howe did a great job here, and Maka came along and picked it right up. So I'm hoping that'll happen, but I really am personally disappointed that Ken is going, although I think he should probably land a very good job.
You think Ron Washington will be seriously considered?
I hope so.
Yeah.
There's nobody better steeped in baseball than Wash. Now, he hasn't managed in professional baseball, and that might work against him, but he has tremendous confidence of the players on this team. The only thing I've talked to Wash about it, his desire to manage. I know he's going to interview at Tampa Bay and I think somewhere else. He loves teaching so much, and he is so good. And I said to him, what about that aspect of it? You're not going to be able to do that as much. You're going to have so many managerial things to deal with, the media and the like. And he said, I know that, but he said, I'll find a way. So what that means, I don't know.
All right, and not to get too personal, but Tony, you're not aware of this. He was involved. His family lost a couple of homes in New Orleans. So wouldn't that be something, Bill? I mean, talk about bad for Maka, but a happy ending for Ron if it worked out.
I hope Wash lands something that he wants this year, whether it's here or elsewhere. I would certainly hate to lose him, and I think everybody in the organization would. He commands tremendous respect for his commitment to the game, his respect for the game, his understanding of the nuances of the game, the ability he has to bring the most out of young prospects. Eric Chavez, who's won 4 Gold Gloves at third base, gave Wash his second Gold Glove in appreciation for what he did to bring him to the point that he could win a Gold Glove.
Gee, I was listening. I thought you were talking about Raider Mort for a minute. Hey, we got to throw Raider Mort on just so we could say this wasn't a Mort, are you there?
Yes, I am here, Gary.
This is the last time the great Art Spander, Bill King, and Tony Bruno. So no offense, but you know Joe Cap is not going to carry a lot of weight. Just get on and get off, will you?
Hey, listen, the first guy that I remember starting the celebration was Otis Taylor of the Kansas City Chiefs, who high-stepped it into the end zone and backhanded a spike. So he did kind of a combination plate, which is a prelude before even Hubert Dixon and Elmo Wright.
Bill, you would know. What do you think?
Listen, I'll tell you, I have to defer to Raider Mort. He probably knows more about the Raiders than anybody.
Joe Cap got a raw deal at Cal, right, Mort? 1 in 10. They should have kept him.
Well, it should have kept him, and then he got a raw deal in Super Bowl IV, too.
All right, stop with that sucking. Hey, all right. Hey, Mort, so you're going with Otis Taylor.
I'm going with Otis Taylor.
Bill is going Bill, your man is who again?
Hubert Dixon.
Dixon.
That's my first recollection, and I was not aware of anybody before that.
And Art, you're going with Thomas Bjorn.
That's exactly what I'm going with, Thomas Bjorn.
All right. Hey,
and I'm going with Chuck Bednarik, who spiked Frank Gifford, I think, was the first actual real spike of significance back in the day in the 60s.
All right, in order.
Last 60-minute man, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Bill, I appreciate you listening to this stuff, all right? I'll try and pick up the quality.
It was a lot of fun, and believe that I finally got in the air with Bruno?
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Bill, no, seriously, it's an honor to be on. I respect the greats of the game. Art Spander, great journalist, and you're a great broadcaster, and it's an honor to be on with you, really.
Hey, Tony, after all that sucking, maybe you'd like to be on Art's show tomorrow. Go ahead, find
I'm going to go on the Art Spander Golf Show. Tomorrow we break down round 2 of the, what is it, the Federal Express, the American Express.
The Thomas Bjorn Invitational.
Exactly.
Artie, thank you.
Thank you.
Tone, we'll talk with you tomorrow.
All right, Gary.
And, of course, the great Bill King. No. Hey, Tony.
Yes.
And you can ask, and I don't just because Bill,
Just be with you in a minute.
I get an oxygen tank on Bill even when he hadn't called in 3 years. He is a great – no, Tony, he's the best.
No, he's one of the all-time greats, and I respect people who have had the accomplishments that he has. He's a legend.
And you're right. I love Art, too. Tony, that was fun. Tony!
Yes,
how the hell
Gary.
don't you